Every single family in the town of Briar's Hollow owned the exact same photograph. It was never framed or displayed proudly. No, most people kept it tucked away in dusty drawers, slipped between old documents, or hidden behind other, happier family portraits. It was always close enough to be found, but far enough to be ignored. The photograph showed a man, standing in the distance. No one knew where it came from. I found ours right after my mother died. I was sorting through her belongings, and in the very back of her closet, I found a small cedar box. Inside were birth certificates, a stack of yellowed letters, and at the very bottom, a photograph that didn't belong to any memory I had. It showed a man standing at the edge of a field, his back turned completely to the camera. He wore a dark, heavy coat and a wide-brimmed hat that shadowed his head. The image was grainy and looked ancient, but something about it felt disturbingly recent, like it had been taken just yesterday and then artificially aged. Later that evening, I showed it to my father. "What's this?" I asked, holding it out. His face went completely pale. A look I'd never seen before washed over him. "You weren't supposed to find that yet," he said, his voice barely a whisper. Yet, that one word sent a chill down my spine. That was the first time I ever heard about the photographs. He explained that every household in Briar's Hollow had one. They were always discovered, never purchased. It was always the same man, and he was always facing away. "They've been around longer than the town itself," my father said, his eyes distant. "My parents had one. Their parents, two." I looked at the picture again. The faceless man in the field. "What happens if you throw it away?" I asked. My father didn't answer. He just shook his head slowly, and that silence was more terrifying than any answer he could have given me. So I started asking around. I had to know more. Mrs. Calder, who lived down the road, showed me hers. She kept it tucked inside an old family Bible. It was the same man, Tisami Kwat. But in her photograph, he stood a little closer. He was just past the field now, right at the edge of the tree line. "I don't remember him being that near," she whispered, her hand trembling as she pointed. Her fear was palpable. It was clear she hadn't looked at it in years. My next stop was the town library. I hoped to find some answers in the local history archives. Buried deep within brittle records and faded town ledgers, I found another photograph. This one dated 1912. It was him, same man, same coat, same hat. But this time, he was barely visible, just a tiny, dark shadow on the far horizon, almost blending into the landscape. That's when I noticed something else, a pattern that made my blood run cold. Every newer photograph I saw placed him closer. The man wasn't just standing still, he was advancing. After that, I went door to door, consumed by a morbid curiosity. In some families' photos, the man stood behind their fences. In others, he was right beside their barns. In one family-ass picture, the Hendersons, he was standing at the edge of their yard, just a few feet from their back door. But no one, not a single person, could remember when he'd moved. There was a gradual, insidious creep that went unnoticed until it was pointed out. "He doesn't hurt anyone," the mayor told me firmly when I confronted him. He had a stern, almost practiced resolve. "As long as you don't acknowledge him, you leave him alone, and he leaves you alone." The town's unspoken rule, a conspiracy of silence. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread. I dug out our photograph again and compared it to the digital copy ID taken of the one from the 1912 archive. My heart stopped. In our photograph, the one from my mother's cedar box, the man stood at the end of our driveway, facing the house. I didn't sleep a wink that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside, sounded like footsteps on the gravel. The next morning, I came downstairs to find the photograph lying on the kitchen table, where I'd left it. But it wasn't the same. It had changed. The man was no longer at the end of the driveway. He now stood on our front porch, still facing away. His back to the viewer, but he was there. On our porch, my father saw it and refused to even look at it. Eterned Hawaii, his face a mask of grim determination. He started throwing clothes into a bag. "We leave tonight," he said, his voice tight with panic. "We have to go." Before he never finished the sentence. The lights in the house flickered once, twice, and then went out, plunging us into a dim morning twilight. At the same moment, a loud creak echoed from the front of the house. the sound of weight settling on old wood. I rushed to the living room window and peered through the blinds. The porch was empty. There was no one there. Confused, I turned back around. Just then, the photograph slid from the table, as if pushed by an unseen hand, and landed on the floor, face up. My breath caught in my throat. The man was inside the house now. The picture showed him standing in our hallway, still facing away, but in the faint, glossy reflection on the photograph's surface, I saw something else. I saw my father, standing behind the man in the picture, staring directly at the camera, his eyes wide with terror, his mouth open in a silent, unending scream he spun around. The real hallway was empty. A chilling silence filled the house. "Dad," I called out, my voice shaking. No answer. I ran through the house, my heart pounding against my ribs. I found him, or rather, I didn't find him in his bedroom. The bed was perfectly made. His clothes were still hanging neatly in the closet. His phone lay on the nightstand, locked and untouched, as if he'd never even packed. He was just gone. But one thing was different. On the nightstand, next to his phone, a new photograph sat beside the old one. This new photo showed our living room. It showed me, from behind, staring into the empty hallway, and standing just behind me in the picture was the man. But this time, he was facing the camera. And in that horrifying instant, I understood everything. The photographs weren't warnings. They were records. They were proof of a transaction. The man wasn't approaching us. He was replacing us. Every time someone noticed him, questioned him, acknowledged his existence, he stepped out of the picture and into their life, taking their place. And the person he took, they became the new stranger in everyone else's photograph. The new, faceless figure on the horizon. This morning, I found a photo in my jacket pocket that I don't remember taking. It shows a landscape view of Briars Hollow, seen from a great distance. And at the edge of the town, a lone man stands at the start of a field. He's wearing my jacket, and he's facing away.